Oh, I know.
Who wants a trophy? You brought your
No, she lost her jacket.
Am I gonna sit like right here?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Coming to our rescheduled board meeting. And our first item of business will be if there's any additions or deletions to the agenda. Nothing? All right, and then the approval of the agenda with the additional bills, I would entertain a motion in a second.
I'd move to approve the agenda with additional bills.
I second that.
Thank you. Okay, any discussion on the approval of the agenda as written? Right, all those in favor? Signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No? The ayes have it.
I have just one thing before we go to good things happening. This month is School Board Appreciation Month, the month of January. And we have a couple students here that are gonna present something to our board members, Lola Philo and Carly Jones. Come on up.
That's cool.
On behalf of Platte1 School District, I'd like to thank you guys for all the work that you do for us, so.
Thank
you.
Awesome.
Thank
you. Yes.
Alright,
Thank you.
this is awesome.
Thank you.
This is Philo's class.
That's what I'm wondering. Thank you. Good
Yeah,
job.
thank you for all the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. If we wanna get a picture.
Yeah.
It's like your individual ones and.
Do they wanna stay down, do they wanna stay down long?
They had a couple meetings, I think, so that's what we're presenting to.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is being relaxed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alright, so now then, we'll go to good things happening. We keep those rolling in the background there. Oh, I'm supposed to. And then we.
Really? Yeah. So we have the drama coach, Hal,
Yeah.
and a group of students from the state drama that had a lot of success that they want to just talk about and share some of their successes. So come on up.
Yeah.
The hot, oh, I sit here?
Sure.
I was gonna say, I'd really rather stay. It's all good. So, yeah, I'll invite my
Look
students
at the hardware.
up, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, in December, we went to Casper College. Yeah, come on around, guys.
We want everybody to see on the camera.
Yeah, we need to. Okay.
Come on around, don't be shy.
I'll There you go. Yeah, let them see your hard work, you guys worked really hard. So we went to Casper College to compete in a statewide event, so it's the State Thespian Festival. And we compete against about 800 students from across the state. And each school gets a chance to present 2 one-act plays, and then there's a bunch of individual events. And so this year, we came home with first place in our arena play, which is one of the one-act plays, and first place in our devised play, which is one of our one-act plays, and then second place in sweepstakes, which means that we got the second highest points in our division in the state for what the kids earned. So we're pretty excited about that. So I'll let them kind of tell you about their experience with state. Rory presented a lot of, she did a lot of individual events, and she actually got first place in 2 different categories. So why don't you tell them about that?
Yeah, so number one is I made this.
So introduce yourself.
Oh, hi, I'm Rory Winter. I'm from Thespian Troop 605. And I made this, do you want to hold that? Yep. I made this costume for a play called She Kills Monsters, which is essentially a Dungeons and Dragons play. So I really enjoyed doing that because it was already a hobby. And then I got first place in costume construction with a perfect score and qualified for nationals. And then I got I qualified for nationals in single monologue, and I also got first place and was the only one from Wyoming who qualified for nationals for solo musical theater dance, and also the only dancer in Wyoming that qualified for nationals.
All right, thank you, Rory. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys, and maybe say a little bit about what state was like for you.
Okay, I'm Lillian Fuentes. This was my second year at state, and this was really the first year that I actually did some not one acts, but individual events, and overall it was really fun.
Okay, thank you, Lily.
I'm Ari Bertosh, and this was my first year at state, and overall it was pretty fun. I was half a point away from getting an all-state award.
Yeah, he was so close.
I'm Maria Skager. This was my first year at state. It was fun.
And Lily and Maria were 1 point away from qualifying for nationals. So.
My name's Emiliano Bell, and this is my first year in state, and I really enjoyed trying to figure out the new light boards.
My name is Monica Tracy. It was my first year at state as well, and I really enjoyed my experience. I did quite a few individual events as well.
I'm Christopher Sinner, because that went through. The one thing I disliked about state was our tech booth for our device show. It was a corner behind a 4-inch wall with 3 feet of space.
I'm Aiden McGath. This was my first year at state, and I was the stage manager for the device. And it was a lot of fun to do that, and I'm glad I'm able to do it again.
I'm Damian Bondorf. This was my second time at state and my third time in this competition, including my freshman year, which didn't have state because
COVID.
Yeah. This has been a really fun experience for me, and while I was there, I was able to meet a director from LCCC who proceeded to offer me a scholarship to LCCC.
Yeah, very good. Yes, so we're super excited, and that's really the main thing. I mean, the hardware is great, but when we can give kids scholarships, that's our main goal. So it's really exciting that Damien got offered a scholarship. The thing that most of these students do not know, that I will tell you guys now, is that our arena show, Gracie and the Galapanzas, has been selected to represent Wyoming at ITF. So, yes, good job, you guys. So, yes. Yes. So out of the whole state, everybody who wins first place in any category is up for a selection, and then the Wyoming State Thespian Board chooses a show to go, and they picked our show.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I don't know what ITF stands for.
International Thespian Festival.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes.
I just
Sorry.
didn't know. Sorry.
So ITF is International Thespian Festival, and it's exactly that. It's students from all over the United States, but there's also been people from China and Puerto Rico, and I'm trying to remember some of the other countries that I heard about last year.
I thought Ireland was there.
Yeah, I think Ireland was there. So it's, and we all convene in Bloomington, Indiana for a week. So we're gonna be doing a lot of fundraising because we're there for a week, and with room and board and registration, it's $1,000 per kid. We'd really like to be able to take our whole cast plus our techies. We would like them to be able to go as well so that they have that experience. So we've got some major fundraising to do, but it's such an honor. It's really cool to be selected. And then you perform in front of all of these students internationally. So it's a very high honor. It's really cool, and we're very, very excited.
So is it separate from nationals?
It's the same thing.
Oh, it's the same,
We
it's
say
nationals.
nationals.
Okay, that's.
I guess internationals has another syllable.
So
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of.
Yeah, I tell everyone it's national, so if my.
Yeah, so it's technically internationals, but yeah, that's the same thing. So, yeah, Rory could choose. She has 3 different categories she can choose to compete in individually, and then our one act competition, our one act piece, will be going to represent Wyoming. So it's really exciting. And then after we leave here tonight, we are doing our first read through for Arabian Nights that will be performing in April, and we actually have tickets for you all to be able to go, because we would like to share this experience with you guys. And I think all of you are going to be involved in Arabian Nights.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we would just like to invite all of you to go. Yeah. So, and then that is based on 1,001 Nights. There you are. And the stories of Scheherazade. So we're really excited. We're gonna learn a lot about that culture, a lot about the dance and the food and the customs and things like that. So it should be a thoroughly educational experience for them. And it's gonna be a lot of fun in the process as well. So that's our good news.
We have to this way shake our hands, maybe?
Yeah.
Shake our hands as they go down there, that'd be great.
And for those of you who don't know, this is Tawn Winter, and she's my assistant director, and she actually directed Gracie and the Galapanzas.
Congratulations.
So.
Congratulations.
I would have seen the sign in red, so that's
Looking good, looking good. Hold that baby
So we're gonna go read a script now. Alright, guys have fun. Alright, thank you guys so much for giving us time.
a long time ago.
I did.
It was in like.
I didn't leave it.
I was.
Sorry. Oh, I guess I was in your way.
I didn't have color. We also did
It's okay, I was gonna blame it on us.
and then did, Annie, get your gun. Oh my God, black and white, yeah. Black and white. Our names are still up on the wall, I think.
Okay, now we're on to correspondence. You wanna do the first one?
Yeah, we had a nice holiday gift certificate from First State Bank to Center Office for a drink from Simply Creative. That was kind of a nice gesture from them and correspondence for our staff. I know we really enjoyed that last Friday, I believe. Thank you to them.
And then we have we received a thank you card from the Senior Center to Kelly Pruitt's second grade class. Because they helped the second grade class, or Mrs. Pruitt's class helped with the Senior Center for their Christmas program.
Oh,
at the senior.
Listen, now, let's see this here.
Yep, and we'll let everybody see. Alright, any other correspondence? Alright, okay. So we'll go on to the visitor comments. And just as a reminder, I'll read our little addendum here to the visitor comments. That says policy BDDH, also known as KD, allows for visitor comments during a regular board meeting. It states in part, public participation will be permitted, but may be limited at each meeting. The full policy is printed and available at the sign-up table. We appreciate thoughts and comments, but we would like to remind everyone, this is not a time the board can interact with the public. We would encourage anyone with comments to contact the superintendent or board chair so it can be determined if it needs to be an agenda item for further discussion. We also encourage anyone to attend workshops where more interaction is allowed. Again, it is recommended to contact superintendent or board chair to get on the agenda so proper research can be done for an effective meeting. We would also like to remind the public of a few rules. No profanity will be tolerated, no disparaging remarks towards any one person or group or program will be tolerated. The public comment period is not the place to get anything resolved and actually slows the process. Platte County School District Number 1 will require decency, honor, and respect, even in disagreements. Any person who does not follow these guidelines will be asked to leave. All right, we have one person sign up, and we do have a 3-minute time limit, Chrissy.
I just wanted to say, thank you for listening, for the times that I've been here and listening, and for corresponding when I did email and when I did try to follow the chain of command. So thank you for reaching out to me and following that and helping me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we're on to the consent agenda with the minutes, claims, and donations. I would entertain a motion to accept those, the consent agenda.
I would so move.
I will second. Thank you. Okay, any discussion on the consent agenda? Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. All right. On to item A, information items. Mr. Michael, you may take over.
Okay. Yeah, our first report will be our science curriculum update with Josh. He's kind of leading that initiative.
Good evening, Chairman Lay, members of the board. So this year, science is up for review. And so I'm working, since we've changed our curriculum instruction and assessment teams a little bit, we've kind of split up some, Mr. Schaffner is gonna lead the math team through that process next year, but kind of split it up a little bit to help out, but science is up for this year, and Cindy Amundsen is our secondary coordinator, and the secondary people are kind of still leading the district group through the process. So what those people that served on the curriculum team have that experience, and they're kind of they're leading that process and referring back to Leslie Boaz and I as the kind of I don't know if we're former co-chairs, but co-chairs, but just kind of liaison back to Mr. Weigel. So, Cindy's been meeting with the elementary groups so far. She's visited with the teachers at Libby and at West, and there's a few things that we're working on. In the K2 area, we really, we hope that we can get some science in when we can, but a lot of it is addressed through reading the literacy pieces. As you know, we have a lot of literacy goals in K2 up to 3rd grade, and so their focus is really on that type of work and learning vocabulary, which really has that background knowledge for getting into the hands-on science activities. West, when Cindy met with them, the last time around we bought FOSS kits that are self-contained kind of experimental kits that the teacher can grab and they can go through the experiment. So they're looking, they're satisfied with those. We may need, a little bit of a budget for some replacement materials. We are also looking at some other online assessment tools that we've used at the middle school and high school level called Edulastic that lets the teacher build the assessment in there and they can share it with each other. And then the teachers have that data automatically back when that student hits submit. They can actually watch the student as they're taking the assessment, but when they hit submit, the teacher has all the data they need to do to go back and if they need to go back and work with the student on certain areas, they can get it down to the individual level. And then at the high school, not really, the last time around we bought Chromebooks. We didn't buy any curriculum materials. Our teachers have really, and middle school as well, have really kind of built their own curriculum and then added resources as we go. So we don't see a lot of money towards that, but again, I think the focus that they would like to have is on assessment training, so professional development. So they're able to write better assessments for our students, and then just some continued professional development on what you do after that. When you get that assessment done, what does it look like? Working back with the kids. So there might be a little bit of money maybe for some online resources, some consumables that we take care of through the building budgets. And then I think their last request, they would like to be able to send some teachers to the National Science Teachers Conference. This year it's in March, it's over spring break. I don't know if we're gonna be able to go to that one or if everybody has plans already for spring break, but they would like to, if we can find some grant money. I don't know if our big grant runs out at the end of the year, so that one's not gonna work, but if we can find some grant money for professional development, they would like to go to the national conference. So overall, they're making progress, and it sounds like more refining what we're doing instead of purchasing a lot of materials. Okay, any questions?
Alright, thanks, Josh.
Alright, thank you.
And then Shane Chapter's gonna talk a little bit about the math curriculum, he's kind of leading that group.
Alright, thank you. Alright, our math curriculum group, we're just getting started. We'll meet for our first time this week. We're math's up for review for next year, 24-25 school year, so we're trying to get a little jump on it. We met with Mrs. Harlan, and basically we're gonna look at, we're gonna start out looking at what curriculums we're currently using, K5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. And then what supplemental curriculums we're using at each of those levels too. Because right now, I think we're using a variety of different things, so we can start our conversation there and find out what's working. We're gonna review our data, our district data for the last couple of years in each of those grade band levels, and then we're going to start reviewing other high performing districts in the state, reach out to them, find out what curriculums they're using. And then that'll lead us into acquiring or getting some sample curriculums in. We wanna follow what others are doing, what's successful as far as that goes, and then that'll give us a little time to get other curriculums in to review and possibly pilot, either in the fourth quarter of this year or throughout next year as we come around and keep the process going and we narrow it down on what we want to do at each of those grade band levels as the group tries to figure out what's gonna be best for the district, for our kids in that.
Shane, who's gonna be on that committee, like which grades and which?
So right now we have one representative out of every grade level K through 5. And we'll have one from Glendo. We haven't determined which one that will be yet. That got sent to them, they're gonna decide there. We have both middle school teachers in there, Jorgensen and McIntosh, and then we have all 3 high school teachers too, Harlan, Freeman, and Copeland. Those time sheets here.
So we kind of refined that process a little bit to try to have a committee with all the grades instead of having people outside that don't know a lot about maybe physics. We kind of refined that and I think a little more targeted with some of the curriculum. So we are moving with it, just to let you know. So thanks, Shane. I guess this next one's my item. I met with David Russell before the holiday break. He's our sheriff. And he visited with Platte1 and 2 about the option to have a full-time SRO next year in each of the districts, have a separate SRO, but have them available in case there was something that might be a strength of one or the other. So we had that conversation. We have meetings tomorrow to decide who goes where, because we have Christina currently as our SRO that kind of goes back and forth between both districts. So they're gonna cover the majority of that cost. He did ask each district to put in $20,000 to help pay for the salary and benefits of the new SRO. So I happened to write that into our grant for this year, so we have that covered through our Title IV grant. Specifically, it's about safe and healthy students. That was the connection that's been approved by the state already, so really there won't be any general fund money coming out of that. We're gonna use a grant to have a full-time SRO in our district for next year. Good news. Next, we have Jamie's gonna talk a little bit about some grant totals, Chubb letter financial overview, and kind of where the district's at currently with our financial status.
Okay, so this time I decided to do something a little bit different. But if you are looking for the 3-year history comparison of all the funds, that can be found on our website. It's updated up to December 31st, so if anybody needs a reminder, go to platte1.org, and then business department, and then budget info. And then if you scroll down to the bottom is where it's gonna give you the comparison, but I was asked to do more of a general fund update, and so we'll just kind of go through this. As far as the revenue goes, we approved the budget for fiscal year 24 with $22,153,774 as the anticipated amount that we would be receiving for the year. And so what I did is I just broke it out by category as far as local resources, county resources, and state resources. How much you guys approved with the budget and how much we have received through December 31st. So you can see our beginning cash balance, that's our money, so we already own that, so that's 100% received. And then as far as local resources, we've received about 43.9% of what we've anticipated, county resources about 48%, and state resources 54.56%. I put an asterisk in there because our state resources still are not set. I've been visiting with the state. We're going through data validation is when they look at all of our expenses from the prior year, make sure they're categorized properly, and that's what generates our guarantee is with our 100 and our other state reports that we submit. So we're still working on the data validation piece, and so I received 3 different amounts already so far this year that we're going to receive, and so I'm still not sure on the state resources of what we're looking at, but to our best guess, this is what it's gonna be so far. So then I broke it out by expenditures. Again, we approved a balanced budget, and so what I did is I just broke it out by category again, 1,000s being direct instruction, 2,000s instructional support, 3,000 admin and support, and 6,000 transfers and the Prairie View pass-through. Right now, I'm feeling very comfortable of where our general fund is. We are right in line as to where we've been in the prior years. So right now, we're on track to be balanced budget. Wanted to let you know, like, you might look at this and go, well, we've only spent 13%. Well, we still have a lot of contract payouts to go, and May is our big payment where we make 3 payments for the staff over the summer. Other big expenditures that have not come out that we know are coming are going to be our property insurance. We will pay that in January and another in June this year, so it's gonna be a little bit different than prior years. We also need to pay for our vehicle and our bus insurance. Utility costs are not included in the encumbered piece. And student device replacements, the tech department has not put in that order yet to replace those Chromebooks that they're gonna be having for the next year. Our teachers and principals have not put in their supply order for fiscal year 25. After speaking with the maintenance and grounds department, we're looking at purchasing a couple of lawnmowers. We currently, I think, are down to 1, and so those are a hefty purchase for the district. And the lunch supplement fund, well, we had to do that on Friday of last week. So we went ahead and we transferred 200,000 of our 300,000 into our lunch fund. So you'll be seeing that in the next report with January as that expense coming out. And then curriculum purchase, as Josh just was discussing, we'll be purchasing our science curriculum coming up, as well as anything that they need for that. The next slide, I just put in there, these are budget savings that the district doesn't want to have, but are currently we are having. We have quite a few job openings right now that we have budgeted for as expenses that we were hoping to fill, but we have not filled. So they are a cost savings, not a cost savings that we want, but unfortunate. And then, so that kind of takes care of the general fund. So then I was kind of asked to do a federal fund update and some grants, and this is where I'm like, I could stand up here and talk for 6 hours probably on grants. So I just decided to kind of focus it in on one. These are the grants that the district has available and the amounts that they have. Some of them have expired, but we've already had expenditures through this fiscal year that we've had to put to those grants. So I decided this time to focus on CARES, or our ARP award, which is the $3,275,349.24. A reminder that this has to be spent by September of 2024. And then I just chose to kind of break it out by the year. So we started spending this money in 22. We spent $9,357.68. In 23, we spent $815,217.13, and in 24 through December 31st, we spent $666,926.12. So of the grant, we spent a total of $1.4 million. So we.
Can we get Richard to move that up?
Oh, sorry. Can you go one more slide? Sorry.
There you go.
And so total remaining is we have $1.9 million remaining that we have to spend by September of 2024. Now, you're thinking that's a lot of money, right? So let's go on to the next slide, please. And it's gonna kind of tell you, okay, so of the 1.9 we have to spend. Summer school or extended day, we have to spend 20% of the award amount on summer school or extended day. So that's an absolute minimum of $655, $69.85. So I broke those expenditures down of how much have we spent on the after school and the summer school. And so we've spent $172, $991.24. So we still have close to $500,000 that we have to spend on after school. So we're really pushing that as a district of every day after school, at every school, Saturday school, Am I missing anything? We are trying.
Is it labeled? How do you?
Yes, so you have
actually
to,
spend it.
yep,
It can
yep,
be
and they
some
are
curriculum
very,
materials and stuff.
very picky on how you spend it. And they go through each item and they wanna know who spent it, who you spent it on, how many hours did they work, what did they do? It's very tedious, and so we're trying. If you go to the next slide, it kind of breaks it down. So of the 1.9 that we have remaining to spend, the minimum that we have to spend on the after school that we have left to spend, and so then we have technically 1.4 million now. And so we're looking at an HVAC project that's gonna be about $1,042,000. And so then we're estimating our payroll to be about $172,000 is what we still have remaining to pay out of those that are funded out of the CARES grant. And so then, we also have $11,000 in supplies that we've already purchased, and so we're looking at $259,000 that we have wiggle room right now in our grant. Okay, so that kind of takes care of CARES 3 or ARP. And then I was also asked to do a Prairie View charter update. So July 1st through December 31st, there's the lease details. The lease is $2,500 a month, and that covers anything from the building contents, so our A1 fire protection, the smart TVs, the desks, the PA system, the wireless network, all of that. That is what the $2,500 is covering. And then the copier cost, that's running approximately $283.63 a month. Currently, we're looking at getting that copier back into the district, as Prairie View is gonna be going a different way with the copier. I think they're gonna be getting their own copier. Telephone is running about $304.80 a month. And utilities is billed directly to Prairie View. So they are paying for the utilities for that school. They're billed directly to them. So we bill them for the lease, the copier, and the telephone. We just take our telephone costs, that the bill that the district receives, put it on an invoice with their $2,500 lease and their copier, as long as they're using it. And like I said, our office is just working on data validation. We've got a policy meeting tomorrow to update some policies. That's it. Oh, finishing up the insurance renewal, you guys are gonna hopefully approve the bylaws later this evening, so we can finish up the paperwork for our insurance.
Jamie, you guys good? Questions for Jamie at all? Thank you, good job.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Then we'll have Jim come up, kind of the final part of our report and talk about the HVAC update.
Board, Superintendent, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me kind of give you an update on what we've got going. With the HVAC system updates, we took the list, we went through the different schools trying to just figure it out. And the three that we're trying to tackle right now, number one should be the high school weight room. Number two should be Libby Elementary, and then the third, if it all fits out like it's supposed to, we should be able to get it in, is the high school library building. And so we've been working with Plan 1, we've got it pretty much 98% ready to go out for bid. We've done all the designs and everything else. On that, we just got a couple last minute tweaks and things we're making on that side. So our proposed timeline is February 1st, it should be completely wrapped up on the design side. So February 1st, it'll be released to start advertising that it's going out for bid on those three projects. We're recommending that we break it into 3 different sections on that. That way, it 3 different bids. So if one contractor gets one building, that way it kind of evens out on all that. But anyway, February 1st is when we're gonna be looking at starting advertising for that. And then going from there on the 15th of February will be the mandatory walkthrough, as we go through the different buildings so everyone can see what's going on. And then closing out bids on March 5th, at 2 o'clock on that day, and then that'll bring it here for the March, school board to approve the contracts. And then going from there are, by the time, all the equipment's about 3 months out, so it puts us right at the beginning of summer. So it should be able to pretty much right through summertime, no school, be able to wipe everything out. And the end date that we have on the contract is gonna be August 20th. For the substantial, there might be a little bit of some of the electronics or something that we might have to button up, but we should have no problem fitting it all in on that time schedule. And so that's kind of how we're sitting on all that.
Any questions on?
Did we approve going to bid on that and I missed it?
I believe we did early on, but it's the engineering part that has to come up with the specs, and that's why it's just been delayed.
I feel like we did, but I can't remember.
I think we approved about the bid, but there was a lot of work. I think in our budget, we had about $100,000 for engineering, and that was with Plan 1. So that's kind of like you approve the bid, so we go forward with engineering and get the specs, because they're doing the specs for each project. It's a little technical. I think we'd have a hard time coming up with those specs ourselves, so
We're
our
sitting right
engineering
at
piece. Is that correct?
Yeah, and we're sitting right at 60,000 on the engineering, but the project oversight on that. That was all figured into that grant.
Plan one budget is roof.
I think it was a couple months ago,
This is
approved AC. It might have been in November.
2 months ago,
I think we approved it, but then we had to have the engineering piece of it, so if you didn't approve it, you couldn't go forward with the engineering piece, so, yeah.
I remember it, but I can't remember it.
So, alright, thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
It was in November.
November 13th,
Yep,
okay.
just found it. Okay, sorry, just check.
And that's my report.
Okay, next is the board reports, so committees, does anybody wanna talk about a committee they're on? I will say, Chase and I and Connie have not met for the onboarding committee yet, because we were gonna meet last week. And of course we postponed and Diane's gone this week, so we'll get on that.
The policy committee will be, or Jamie and I will be meeting tomorrow at 08. Over policies, so.
And then the full policy committee is set to meet in February again. We can talk about that.
Those are all the policies that are accurate about who's on what policy and what adjustments, so.
Activities didn't meet due to weather also.
The strategic plan is not like that.
Okay, and then the additional item, we wanted to talk a little bit, or let everybody, everybody knows all of the board members have adopted a school or portion of the district. So I was gonna let if board members wanted to give us an update on anything that they're doing, and then we'll start highlighting one a month after this. I'm meeting Wednesday with Shannon with the sped department.
I have Glendo Schools and Peak High School. And Glendo's gonna kick off their basketball season with the junior high kids, so if you're not doing anything at 4:30 tomorrow, you're welcome in Guernsey. But if they have a home game, and you're welcome to keep book or run the clock, because they're looking for volunteers for that as well.
Today at 4:30.
Yeah.
It was fun.
So
Peak High School, I wanted to do something with them for Christmas, and so many kids had things, which is a positive, scheduled for the holiday, that we didn't get that worked out, so we, one of the teachers reached out, and we've actually arranged for them to come to the power plant on the 30th, and they're gonna learn about the trades from Basin Electric, so.
Awesome.
I try to meet with Mr. Shatner a couple times a month, but usually go in there and we spend about 30 minutes in his office talking about stuff. You know, things are good. I always ask, first thing I always ask him is how things are going. And his answer is always the same. Good. Such a laid back guy. That's all I got.
Anybody else gonna report? Okay, we'll hit you guys next time.
That'll work.
Alright, moving on. Item 3 under informational reports was the January Parks and Recreation minutes. That's just information.
Information, yeah.
Okay, so everybody can look at those, as well as the PCED Board of Director minutes. So all in there for our information. Alright. And then item B under that, the policy evaluation.
Yeah, so we're coming up on all the subcommittees meeting. Remember, we had 1/5 of the policies. That subcommittees are meeting and making their recommendations, then we'll have a large policy meeting, and each administrator that's kind of facilitate that will go through, kind of highlight their area, like, we reviewed this many, no changes, we had a couple small changes here, here's kind of a large kind of change we're recommending for the policy committee, then we'll bring those forward to the board to start that process. So that will be, we're getting pretty close. I think Jamie's gonna finish hers up and everybody else is finished, so we're getting ready to move that forward, and there'll be lots and lots of policies listed as reviewed, or maybe they need first or second reading, so that's kind of right on the future, I think next month, before the work session, yeah. And then the other one was, I talked to Josh a little bit about the graduation requirements, AKF. And with the high school looking at a 7-period day, it's gonna change the amount of credits the students can earn. And we always wanna make sure there's a little bit of a gap between, hey, what you can earn and what's the requirements, we have a little room in case you do maybe get out of a class or fail a class. So he's gonna kind of walk through that a little bit with his progression from class to class, so I don't know, can you talk a little bit about it, Josh?
Yeah, I can share a little bit about it. So a little bit of history. When I first got here, we were on a 5x5 block schedule. So our students actually had 10 classes that they were in. And when Mr. Jesse and I, when we sat down, we were looking at the time spent, the teacher actually in front of the students. Over a 2-week period, that came out to about 35 minutes. And so that was the change, that was when we changed to our current schedule with the modified block. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we have all 7 periods. Thursday and Friday, we have block periods that are 80 minutes long. And then we also have our blue and gold period. On Thursdays, it's 70 minutes, 72 minutes. And then Fridays, it's 28 minutes. And so visiting with staff, you know, we're kind of at the point where blue and gold, as it was intended, has kind of shifted. 70 minutes is a long time. We don't have kids that are reading for that long, at least not all of them. We've got a wide variety of what's going on. We've tried to do some ACT prep. You know, with seniors, we're working on, you know, applying for colleges, doing some scholarship work, but it's kind of all over the place. So one of the things, we do offer credit for it. We have enough minutes that we can offer 2 credits over the 4-year period. One of the things that we've talked about as a staff though is, are we at the point, you know, after 7-8 years that we're ready for a schedule change? We're finding that the block periods are long. After visiting with Mr. Daniel, the block periods at the middle school are long. Some of the teachers that are here know what middle school kids in 80 minutes will do to you. So we've just been talking about the need for a change and what that would look like. So what we're proposing is whether or not we can offer credit for blue and gold, we're still working on that, but what we'd like to do is just switch to a 7-period schedule, 5 days a week. And so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're gonna have between probably 52 and 55-minute periods. And then Friday will be shortened, anywhere from 30 to 36-minute periods, depending on what we do with the blue and gold time. You know, we've talked at the high school about changing kind of the focus on that time. A lot of parents I've heard from, you know, they're looking for time for their kid to do some extra work. We're looking at some time that we can do some interventions with our kids. We still like the reading component. We wanna be, you know, one of the main focuses is literacy. And so making sure we're still somehow addressing that, but giving students some time to get some work done because they're busy. As you've heard from Mr. Philo, 80% of the high school kids are involved in at least one activity. So giving them some time to get some work done, so we don't have to worry about it on Mondays when we run the eligibility reports. So anyway, what we're looking at is currently, we require students to earn 28 credits to graduate. And we're looking to drop that to 26. And basically what that would do, is if we do or we don't have the blue and gold or win time, would give kids the flexibility. And I think as you look around the state, schools, traditional high schools are probably the majority around 24 credits to graduate. And the one thing that we've talked about at the high school is, you know, we want our kids to be successful, but we also have a high standard for them to complete coursework. So this, even though they would only need 26 to graduate, they're still gonna be enrolled in the 28 credits. So that's what we're looking at. So it would drop the elective credits from 14 to 12. There's also some other things that we're looking at with Mr. Weigel with some apprenticeships type stuff, enhancing our internship process and work study process to include at least the juniors, maybe even do some internship stuff with sophomores, maybe not all at once, but maybe, you know, in a couple years we include those things. So just trying to figure out a spot where we can get kids their credit, but whether or not we have the blue and gold for credit kind of determines that. We didn't want them to have to earn 28 out of 28. That's probably not, for the majority it's realistic, but we know we have students that they're not gonna get there. So in that process, the last time through, we did have a step down, because I think we had to graduate with 35 out of 40 credits. So we had to step that down, for 4 years to get from 35 to 28. And so we've kind of got that mapped out right now, for the next 4 years. So currently the class of 25, which are our current juniors, they would need to earn 27.5. The class of 26 would need 27 credits. Class of 2027 would need 26.5. And then next year's incoming class of freshmen would be 26. So it works out really well, which is the half credit step down to get to that. The other thing we're looking at, if you're following anything from the state school board, is just some I don't know, for us, to me, I think it's just a change in terminology, but they're officially kind of putting in that certificate of completion for students that are intensive sped students that receive a certificate of completion. That's what we currently call it. They're kind of officially adopting that. It's been there in the state statutes, but they're working on that too. So currently in our policy, it's a certificate of recognition, and we just need to clean that up to match what they're thinking with recognition to completion. And again, that's for students that complete their special IEP plan according to their IEP team. So this would be a schedule change for the middle school and the high school. We match up because we share staff. And we share staff with Lendo as well, so just making sure that we've got our schedules matched up so we can continue to do that.
Will that make it easier for staffing? Or is just kind of staffing's gonna always be a problem?
I think there's still always gonna be some interesting staffing things. I think, in town, it's easier for us, because we're not traveling that 30 miles back towards Glendale, but currently, I mean, it's worked out well to have Mrs. Eller and Mrs. Lawrence coming from Glendale to the high school, and we just wanna be able to make sure that we can continue to do that, Just makes the timing a little bit more appropriate, hopefully to increase engagement in learning when it's 52 to 55 minutes rather than 80.
And Josh, some of maybe the technology classes, you would double block those, so the kids still have, that longer time period.
Yep, so we would look at,
right, like, we need labs, we need to have, some of those other classes, so you can double block those within the schedule.
Yeah, so we would look, especially, if there was one of the ag classes that we wanted to double block, depending on Mr. Dallas's preference, we could do that. We've already talked with Mr. Hazen about his carpentry class. He really wants to expand working with local businesses and contractors, so having 2 periods back to back where they can do that would be great. And then even Mrs. Moody with, I think, her like international foods or pro baking for upper level classes, we could double block that to give those students more time for those more professional type course offerings. And so basically all the kids that they would just need to know that would take 2 of their elective courses is all to do that course. And we would change that all in our course description book, so it's ready to go. We're bringing it to you because we're getting ready to do our course requests, and so we're just trying to get everything in line so we're ready to go for next school year.
So our current policy is 28 credits to graduate,
28
right?
to graduate.
And I'd have to look again, I haven't looked at that policy for a while, but isn't it broken out to your core classes, electives, whatnot?
Yes, so currently you need 4 language arts, 3 social studies, 3 science, and 3 math. So your total core is 13. We require 1 PE credit, and currently we require 14 electives. So it's the electives that would drop to 12.
Okay.
We would not change anything with the core classes.
So I'll put myself on the chopping block because I don't know the answer. Our policy is 28. You would like to lower it to 26. Other districts in the state go as low as 24. Is there any other, whether it be state statute or whatever deemed entity that has a specific, like why isn't it 14? Is my point. I'm being dramatic there, but like.
So in state statute, what is outlined is the core program. We have to guarantee that students are meeting those core programs. Beyond that, with the electives, each district gets the opportunity to decide what they wanna do.
Okay.
And I think the number of hours within your calendar kind of dictates the number of minutes within each class. You have to meet that standard, so.
Anything else for Josh? Alright, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Alright. That is the information, it looks like. And under action items, I'm not seeing any old business. So we will move into new business under item B. I would entertain a motion to move to executive session.
Madam Chair, I would so move into executive session to discuss personnel and negotiations.
I'll second that.
Alright, any discussion on going into executive session? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No? ayes have it, at 6:58, we will go into executive session. Okay. All right, thank you guys for waiting patiently for us, and we are on to item number 2, approve the policy public conduct on school property, KFA, on second and final reading.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve policy public conduct on school property, KFA, on second and final.
I will second.
All right, thank you. Any discussion on the public conduct on school policy? We've got the updated version, does anybody have it? On the screens to see? And it is a new policy, so if anybody from the public has any comments, they are welcome. Any comments? I'm just letting everybody have a little bit of time to look at it. Alright, so the motion is to approve the policy public conduct on school property, KFA, on second and final reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? The ayes have it. Alright, moving on, we're going on to item 3, which is approve the policy for type distribution records for federal program, which is policy IHBI.
May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I would move to approve policy time distribution records for federal programs, IHBI, on second and final reading.
I will second that. You can second that.
Alright, any comments on that? And this was just a cleanup, more or less, wasn't it?
It was a suggestion from the Wyoming Department of Ed, I believe, because of all the grant work we do. And sometimes we mix general funds with federal funds, just the time and effort.
Any comments, questions? Alright, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Yes. Alright, item number 4 under action items is approve bids for the sale of 3 route buses to Ariba Flagler School District for $12,813.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to approve bids for the sale of 3 route buses to Ariba Flagler School District for $12,813. I'll second that.
And just to clarify, I believe they just put in one bid. There were 3 bids, there are 3 buses up for, I guess, sale. So I think there are only high bid and only bids, so I'm not sure if they want 1, 2, or 3. So, maybe the board would be, but I guess they want them all 3 for that price, we'd probably say, yeah, if they just want 1, we'd look at maybe put that up a bid maybe later. Since we only had 1 bidder, so.
Well, didn't we advertise as a minimum of $10,000?
Yeah, yep.
Per bus.
Yep,
But
per bus.
is it one bus or all 3 buses? We don't know.
That's what I'm
They did not
saying.
clarify in their bid if they wanted 1, 2, or 3, I believe is what Mr. Murphy was trying to.
Right.
So they don't want
Yeah,
3
it looks
buses for $12,000, do they?
No, because the bus is 10.
No, they're gonna pay one bus for that, and I guess when Jamie calls them, they can say, do you want 2, do you want 3 for that price?
Yep.
And I don't know, that's what it seems
So
like.
they'll have to open
Per
it
bus.
up.
Per bus.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I was
Oh,
trying to.
yeah.
Per bus.
No, we're not telling you
Yes.
3 for that.
So they
Yeah.
can have up to all 3 of them per bus for $12,813. If you guys are.
Number 3, so we know, yeah. So we'll accept that part and
So
then go
go forward.
So should we just clean it up and call it the sale of per bus, like, should we clean that up, John?
Amend the motion, yep.
Yeah, I would move that we amend the motion.
I will second that.
What are you amending it to?
Per bus. So we're just gonna change it, instead of saying 3 route buses, we're just gonna say, because all we know of at this time is a bus for this amount of money. And
So
then
it would
then we can do it again next time,
You could just say district for $12,813 per bus.
per bus.
You just add per bus to the end.
Per bus. Cross off buses and say per bus. Right?
Does that, wording wise, does that dedicate them to 3 on our part though?
If they want it. If we say approve
Do you know what I'm saying?
bids for the sale of up to 3 route buses to the school district for $12,813 per bus.
Yeah, that.
Yeah,
that would
Up
cover it.
to 3
Yeah, up
buses.
to. You see what I'm saying then?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that would.
Heather, did you get that?
Would you like for me to repeat it?
Yes.
Okay, approve the bids for the sale of up to 3 buses, Ariba Flagler School District for $12,813 per bus.
Okay, yep, that's what I got.
Okay.
So I think we thought there were gonna be different bids coming in, you know, one bid was kind of unclear, so.
Okay. Alright, so we have a motion and a second to amend, so we're gonna vote on that first. So this is the amendment to say per bus. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Okay, so the motion is amended. Now we're going to vote on approval of the amended motion.
I will go ahead and move to vote on the amended motion.
Okay, and I've got Sean with the motion and, oops, it's supposed to be Connie, I put Diane, that was hard for her to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the vote will be to approve the sale of up to 3 buses for a total, or for $12,800 per bus. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. You guys have it, the bus or buses can be sold. Alright, next, item 6. Item 5, sorry, district organizational chart. We have a copy of that in our click and we have it up there for us as well. I would take a motion to approve this.
I would like to make a motion for the approval of the 2023-2024 district organizational chart.
And I would second that.
Alright, thank you.
So the one thing that I would like clarification on that is added to this organizational chart that was not on, sorry? Are you good?
Yeah.
Oh, that was not on the other is, it goes principals and then straight down the line with athletic activities director in the middle. So who is the athletic director, I'm reading it and can't get it right. Athletic activities director, who does that person report to? Cause that's been something I've been asked a lot in the past, and since it's on this chart and it wasn't on the previous one.
Okay, can we answer that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so the high school principal would be supervising our activities director, athletic and activities director. I would be evaluating peak high school, so there's a difference there. So the principal is under my, I guess, supervision, and that's who I'd be evaluating. And then the athletic director would be really under the high school principal, so Josh would be the one who would be doing that part of the job. And just because administrative assistants are all together, they're not one supervisor, you know, it's just that whole group's under that one. Just like special education director, the sped liaison is at the bottom, it's all together, those 4 in purple are all underneath Shannon, right? So even though administrative assistants, they could have been up above, it didn't really matter, so all that's underneath our principals. but the high school principal specifically would be the activities director.
Any further questions or comments? Alright, all those in favor of approving the 23-24 district organizational chart, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Yes. Alright, item 6, we are on to the school calendar for 24-25. Oh my goodness. And any motion? Anybody wanna make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the 24-25 school calendar.
And a second.
I would second that.
Thank you, Mr. Kafka. All right, the approval of the 24-25 school calendar. Any comments? Questions?
I like that the Dragons, Bulldogs, and Eagles logos are all on there. There's a complete side note that has nothing to do with the days, but I like it.
I did notice that on it, it was for our old date adopted by the Board of Education 1/15/24. I don't know if that makes a difference.
I'll change it.
That just needs to be changed.
All right, any further questions?
The
Comments?
last calendar didn't even have Sundays and Saturdays on it, right?
Yeah, that was a topic of conversation.
Alright.
I like how it shows the full calendar week.
All right, any other questions on the calendar? All right, all those in favor to approve the 24-25 school calendar signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no? You guys have it. All right, thank you. All right, item 7 is we are approving a contract for mind games with Glendale School.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve Mind Games LLC counseling contract with Lindo Schools.
Madam Chairman, I will second.
Thank you. All right, any comments or questions on the contract? You have a copy in your packet. Any comments? Right, those in favor of approving Mind Games LLC counseling contract with Glendale Schools, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you. I kinda like that. Okay, item 8.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve Mind Games LLC counseling contract with Peak Alternative School.
Get a second.
I will second as well.
Any comments, questions on this one with Pete? No questions? Okay. So all those in favor of approving Mind Games LLC counseling contract with Peak Alternative School, grant funded, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. You guys have it. Alright, number 9. We need to look at approve the name change of the high bid company for the old Chedwater School.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the name change of High Bid Company for the purchase of the old Chedwater School.
I'll second that.
Questions, comments? This was just, same people, just a different name. The name they had picked out with the state was already taken, so they had to update their name.
That was gonna be my question, whether they needed to change their name.
Cause the name they wanted was already taken as an LLC with the state.
Gotcha.
Alright, any further discussion? Alright, All those in favor of approving the name change of High Bid Company for the purchase of the old Chugwater School from Prairie View Holding Company LLC to Prairie View Properties LLC, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? The ayes have it. All right, item 10, to approve the real estate contract. Do I have a motion for that?
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the real estate contract to purchase the old Chugwater School to Prairie View Properties.
I will second that. All right, thank you. Any, and the contract is up on the screen for us in our packet. Any comments, questions? Anything you wanna say? Anything you wanna say?
No, I think we're good.
Alright. Any questions? Last call. All right, all those in favor to approve the real estate contract to purchase the old Chugwater School to Prairie View Properties LLC, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? You guys have it. All right, item 11. Approve the bylaws for school risk retention program.
Madam Chairman, I will move to approve the bylaws for the retention program.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. And this has to do with our insurance company. Jamie, you have any thought on it you want to tell us about? Anything we need to know? We have a copy in our packet. Any questions? All those in favor of approving the bylaws for school risk retention program for the new district insurance company, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? All right, item number 12, the approval of personnel hiring, resignation, and terminations.
I would move to approve personnel hiring, resignation, and terminations.
I will second.
Thank you. All right, any questions or comments? Any questions? All right, all those in favor of approving the personnel hiring, resignations, and terminations as per our packet, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? No? Alright, we're getting there, guys. Item 13, approve sick bank regulations for certified, policy GCBDR.
I would move to approve sick bank regulations for certified per GCBD-R. I second that.
Any questions, comments?
Why are there two? Why is there a separate one for certified and classified?
Because we have a classified policy and we have a certified policy, so the regulations should fit for both. So we have the regulations for certified and classified. So the GCBD is gonna be the one for certified. If you go into our policy manual, GDBD is actually the classified one. Since they have different policies, we felt we needed to put regulations attached to both of those. So the sick bank would cover classified and certified.
So it's all the same bank,
There are separate banks between certified and classified.
so there are two. So there are two because we had two policies?
I think
Is
there's,
that what you're telling me?
yeah, there's two policies and really two separate groups of employees, yep.
Is it also because there's two different banks?
Yep.
Any further questions? All those in favor favor of approving sick bank regulations for certified, policy GCBD-R, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. You guys have it. Alright, then 14 is the sick bank regulations for classified.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve sick bank regulations for classified GDBDR.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, will second.
Thank you. Alright, any questions on this one?
And Madam Chair, we will have to change the date again because it was from the last board meeting since we had to redo it, so it's 1/15, so and it'll change both those to today's date, 1/22. It's at the very top.
Oh,
The top of each one of those?
Yeah, it says 115.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's just more clerical.
Thank you for that. Any questions? All those in favor of approving sick bank regulations for classified policy GDBD-R, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Alright, item 15, approve the special education services with Glendo Day program.
Madam Chair, I would move to approve the special education services with Glendo Day program.
Thank you.
And I'll second that.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor of approving the special education services with Glendo Day program, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Okay. Alright, item 16. Approve the revised board meeting and work session dates and times.
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the revised board meeting work session dates and time.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, any questions, comments? Any worked on these at the workshop? Yes. I know there's a question coming.
Well, there was work session, it's a board meeting times, not the work session times.
Yeah, the possible work session is
Okay, yeah.
probable, but.
I see, yeah, it says possible work session at 6 o'clock, I see.
Yes,
And
cause they're
then,
yeah.
okay,
the ones
got
that we double up on.
yeah. I understand.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Any other questions on the work session and board meeting times? All those in favor of approving the revised board meeting work session dates and times, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? Okay. Alright, item 17, approval of the superintendent contract.
Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the superintendent contract.
Alright,
I'll second
alright, any discussion? And you can see the highlights up there. Any discussion or questions from the board? Alright, all those in favor of approving the superintendent contract, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? You guys have it.
Good card, good card.
Alright, and item 18, the approval of the PCPR board member appointment. Parks and Rec.
Wow. Move to approve the PCPR board member appointment.
I'll second that.
Alright, any questions, comments?
The board interviewed 5 candidates for the position, and that's the most since I've been on the board, and I've been on the board for 7 years. And I think Ron Lockhart's been on there for closer to 20, and that's 5 is the most interest we've had in a position. So
Why do you think there's such an interest? You've all got,
I don't know. They have kids that are involved in Parks and Rec activities, that's some of it, but there was just a good interest in it and good interviews with all of them.
Any questions or comments? Alright, all those in favor of approving the PCPR board member appointment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, no? You guys have it. Alright, for future reference, February 12th will be our next work session. Policy committee meeting will start at 4:15 on that day. And then the school board meeting will be on the 19th, weather permitting.
Okay, just one question, this policy committee meeting, is that all of us?
That's
No,
the
the-
main
the
group,
next-
that's the main group that will
Okay.
come from our subcommittees to the main group and highlight our proposed
Okay.
changes to that group.
I just wanted to have that clarification for everybody, okay? Alright, and school board meetings? On the 19th. Okay, very good. I would move to adjourn this meeting.
No, second.
Alright, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, any opposed, no?
And the time is 8:30.